Okay.
Wilbur Sargunaraj.
வணக்கம் எல்லாரும் சௌக்கியமாக இருக்கீங்களா? நான் வந்து வில்பர் சர்குணராஜ் பேசுகிறேன். Hello everybody, I am Wilbur Sargunaraj. Today I want to do very important thing right now to show you a very important thing about the India. Many foreigners who come to the country, they want to know how to use a toilet in India. So today I'm going to show you how to use the Indian style toilet, Eastern style toilet. Western style toilet irukku, Eastern style toilet irukku. The Western style toilet is little bit comfortable for people to sit down. Eastern style is very little bit difficult, but it is the way that we operate in India. So please come follow me. இது வந்து ஒரு டிபிக்கல் ஈஸ்டர்ன் ஸ்டைல் லட்ரின் இது. ஓகே, இது வந்து தமிழ்ல வந்து சொல்லுவோம் கக்கூஸ்னு சொல்லுவோம். ரைட் ஹியர். ஓகே, so this place right here, usually இங்க வந்து ஒரு பக்கெட் இருக்கும். பக்கெட்டுக்குள்ள ஒரு டிப்பர் இருக்கும், இல்லாட்டி மக். ஓகே, inside there they call it the dipper. It's a dipper. We call this in Tamil Nadu, in India we call this a dipper, or we call this a mug. Okay, we use this. I will show you what we all do with this. இங்க வந்து தண்ணி இருக்கு, டேப் இருக்கு. And so this is the typical style latrine, kakus. So when you go to the kakus, when you first come inside, you must lock the door, okay? And then what you must do is, some people they sit like this. This is incorrect. You must not sit like this, because then everything will be in the front. Okay, not like this. You must not sit this. You see the hole? There is a hole right there. அங்க ஒரு ஹோல் இருக்கு. அந்த ஓட்டைக்குள்ள தான் இப்படி பின்னாடி திரும்பி இப்படி தான் உட்காரணும். You must sit like this, the hole facing back like this, okay? So then you take the pant off and then you squat, okay? குனிஞ்சு இப்படி உட்காரணும். You have to sit like this. So you sit like this and then நீங்க வந்து எல்லா business முடிச்சிருங்க. Okay? You finish everything, finish the business, and then after you are finished, now this is very subject that lot of people கொஞ்சம் பக்கத்துல வாங்க. இப்போ வந்து இந்த டாபிக்ல வந்து நிறைய பேர் வந்து they don't want to discuss. ஏன்னா அது வந்து சொன்னா டாபுன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. ஃபாரின்ல டாபு, it is taboo.
Terminology.
In India there is no toilet paper. இங்க வந்து இந்த Kleenex இந்த டாய்லெட் பேப்பர்ல ஒண்ணும் கிடையாது. There is no toilet paper in the latrine. There is only water and the dipper. So we use the water to wash, okay, not the toilet paper. And we use the left hand to do the cleaning. I will show you how to. The foreigners வந்து இது ரொம்ப முக்கியம். It is very important for the foreigners to know, because they are a lot of times confused and very embarrassed to ask the people how to use this. So we take some water and then we clean. We take a left hand and then we pour. And then we clean with the left hand. Okay, some people go from the front, some people go from the back, but we clean like this. Now, very important. Do not just use the hand without the water. That is inappropriate. You must use water. It's a very clean method. Okay, so use the water. While you are pouring the water, நீங்க வந்து clean பண்றீங்க. Okay, that is the way to do the business in the toilet, in the latrine. It is very important. So that is how you do the toilet. It is a very clean method. On the toilet paper பண்றம்போது, if you do the toilet paper,
Keep saying it's clean doesn't make it clean.
Nigel Richards is already by far the greatest Scrabble player of all time, but he just did something completely incredible even by his standards. In November 2024, he won the Spanish World Scrabble Championship. The twist, he doesn't speak Spanish. He already has 5 World Championship titles in his native tongue of English, and almost a decade ago, he stunned the world by winning the French Language Championship, another language he doesn't speak. But his Spanish language win might be his most amazing accomplishment yet. There are so many mind-boggling things about this, but let's start at the beginning of this year's championship. Unlike English language championship events, both French and Spanish offer a single-player Scrabble event called Duplicate. Every player is given the same set of tiles and attempts to find the highest scoring play they can within a few minutes. Duplicate eliminates the luck factor of Scrabble entirely, though it also eliminates the strategic element, reducing the game to simply scoring points. At the Spanish Language Championship, Duplicate spans 3 full games, after which the player who loses the fewest points is crowned the winner. The live streaming coverage tracked the results of 6 prominent players, including 4 former Spanish language champions and Nigel. Keep in mind that word definitions are never a factor. Players simply need to know which combinations of letters are allowed and which aren't. Native speakers normally have a huge leg up towards mastering their Scrabble dictionary, but as he already proved with French, Nigel is the furthest thing from normal. Still, nobody knew exactly what to expect from him in his Spanish language debut, and in Duplicate Game 1, after 2 correct moves, Nigel made a big mistake, submitting an invalid word and earning a devastating 0 for the turn. Maybe he misread his letters and hoped to play Dañina for 69, but it's impossible to know for sure. Defending champion Benjamin Olaizola was the only one of the 6 featured players to find the 60-point top move. Seemingly unfazed, Nigel rebounded with a streak of perfect moves heading into this position, where the top plays of Yagare or Yagase scored 44 points. Nigel found the word and the spot, but he miswrote the coordinates of the move as D4 instead of the correct D8 and took another damaging 0, giving him over 100 points of penalties in Game 1. The second Duplicate game featured 4 bingos in the first 6 moves, with only 2 players spotting all 4, 2019 champions Serge Amig and Nigel. On move 7, it seemed like the top move would be the overlap of Kunda for 35 points. There was only one better move available, the extremely difficult find of Belladonna, a 9-letter word through 3 disconnected tiles. Incredibly, Nigel was the only featured player to find it, recouping some of the points he lost in Game 1. As Game 2 proceeded, Nigel found top move after top move and eventually finished with a perfect score of 997 points, the first perfect game in the history of Duplicate at the Spanish Championship. In Game 3, Nigel was one of just 2 featured players to find the early top move of Exaudir and was the only one to find the tricky Chatungo, using the blank as an N and hitting both double word scores. The rest of the game had slightly easier moves, and Nigel once again finished with a perfect score. Had he written down his coordinates for Yagase correctly, he would have won. Instead, he finished a narrow runner-up to 3-time former champion Luis Pichiocchi. Regardless, his record-setting performances in Games 2 and 3 were astounding. After the team-based Copa Naciones the next day, where unsurprisingly there weren't enough Spanish-playing New Zealanders for Nigel to have a team, it was on to the classic event, featuring traditional one-on-one Scrabble games. Duplicate proved that Nigel knew the dictionary to his normal standard, but Scrabble involves much more than just learning a list of words. Understanding strategic concepts that differ greatly from language to language is a critical part of the game, and this was Nigel's first ever Spanish language competition. For example, take the letter set. These are the 100 tiles in English language play, grouped by letter type. In Spanish, almost all the tile values are the same, except for the Q, which gets docked from 10 to 5 points. With so few K's and W's in Spanish, they're removed entirely. Similarly, the F, V, and Y go from 2 copies down to 1, with a few more tiles removed from the low-scoring consonants. 3 I's are removed in favor of 3 additional A's, and 2 C's, 1 D, 2 S's, and an O and U are added back in. Lastly, the biggest difference is the inclusion of the accented N and 3 digraph tiles. Nothing like these exist in English. Together, these changes shift Spanish away from midpoint consonants towards high point tiles and vowels.
Alright.